This is Valerie Aiello, and you are listening to Idea Diary. I'm back. Thanks for hanging out with me. It's another show. It's a Friday, and yeah, so I've got two things. I don't know what to talk about. I did my investor same page sheet with, it's kind of a P&L profit loss one sheet that, you know, if you're building a company with some people, or there's different investors, different people do different things, you know, I feel like I'm really big into one page things where you get a lot of info on one page and you can like stick this in your bag, and anytime you need to have a conversation, you just pull it out and you've got like hours worth of talking potentially. So I've got that. I have been making my Monique story notes. I don't know why I'm obsessing about this Monique thing, but the more you look into the story, there's something else that pops up, and then something else that pops up, and something else that pops up. And it is very crazy. It's so crazy how you can hear one side of a story and have a total opinion about that, and then you get another side of a story, and then you start thinking, well, seems shady, and then you get it back to another side of the story, and you're like, yeah, what I originally thought is probably true. It's like there are twists and turns in the Monique story. And then there was something else. I just did a Zoom surprise birthday party, so that was fun. My friend Christina, she's, you know, it sucks that we can't just meet somewhere. I feel like her house is literally 3 minutes away or something, driving. And one of her favorite bars to hang out is 5 minutes away. And it's just like so sad that we just can't just meet up and hang out. But, you know, I heard about a friend that's, you know, been successfully living and playing music and just doing all kinds of stuff, and, you know, cool job. And they're moving away. I guess going back to their hometown, because there's just not, you know, it's the first friend that I've heard about that's kind of uprooting their life because of the whole shutdown. So that was kind of depressing to think about happening, but, you know, I just feel like there's a silver lining. Somewhere, somehow, things are happening for a reason. It's all, you know, I don't know what else. You have to think on the bright side, I would think. I do. Anyway. All right. So let's save the Monique story, the Monique research, for another day. Let's dive into my same page sheet for investors. So if you want this sheet, just send me an email or leave a comment, and you know, some way. I still don't have like a plan of how to communicate with everybody on, you know, having a podcast. So I'm using Shopify and I guess iTunes. And I don't know if I get notifications every time. Oh, not Shopify. Sorry, Spotify. I get those mixed up. But yeah, so I'm guessing I get notifications for comments. I'm not sure. YouTube sometimes gives me notifications when I have comments, and sometimes it doesn't. So I don't know. And I'm working on my website, so I guess eventually there I'll just have a contact form. But it's not yet. So we'll see. I don't really use my website. I don't do client work anymore. I don't need a resume or anything to like show off. There's no reason for a portfolio. So I don't know. I'm trying to think of, if I'm a personal brand, what's on my website? I don't know. I guess the podcast link, but I feel like if you found the podcast, somehow you're connected in some platform somewhere or another. So yeah, I don't know. We'll see how that goes. But okay, so back to my same sheet. So I've got list of investors and whether they're investing in time or they're investing in money. So an investor, you might say, well, I'm going to invest in this company. I'm going to work 9 to 5. And then the next section is the length of time you're willing to work for free. So if it's a startup and you're the graphic designer and you're going to do all this work for free, are you going to do it for a year? Are you going to do it for 2 months? And if you are just investing money, what's the length of time you're willing to wait until it becomes profitable? Because Amazon, from what I understand, wasn't profitable for 25 years. So the people who originally invested in it, if they didn't stick around for it to be successful, they could have written off their investment or cashed out or sold their shares to someone else. I think everyone's, and maybe I'm wrong on this, but I feel like people, if you're working on something, and maybe not every single person needs to know, I'm not sure the level of transparency everything needs to be, but so there's if everyone kind of knows, like, this investor is investing $10,000 and will sit on that investment for 25 years. Okay. Thank you for your money, and let's get to building. Or if it's like, I'm putting in $25,000 for 5 years. After 5 years, I want to have a meeting, because if it's not profitable by then, I'd like to figure out what I want to do with my investment money, either sell to someone else or write it off. I think kind of being transparent about what's, just the expectation of, yeah, I'm going to work for free, but I'm not going to work for free for 10 years of my life. I just feel like some transparency is good. Then I have a little section for cash burn rate, which means, so cash burn is the amount of money spent where you're in negative cash flow and your company isn't profitable yet. So if everyone can kind of agree, $30,000 a year in cash burn rate, I guess that's a reasonable amount of money considering what we're doing. Because cash burn could mean, people are buying ping pong tables for the break room and ordering pizza every day for everybody, when it's like things that don't necessarily need to happen. Okay, so the next section, I've got operating expenses. So, if you need hosting, if you need to pay rent, like physical rent, if all the kind of operating expenses that might be needed to make the business a business. And then the next part, I've got jobs needed and the hourly rate for each job and the hours that are needed for that job, and possibly add up each job at an annual cost, and then possibly adding that all up for the annual year. So my next section, I've got sales goals. So that is the number of customers, how much money in sales revenue will that be, minus the cost, minus the tax. What's the potential net income for 1,000 customers, 5,000 customers, 100,000 customers? Just at least, it might be your dream, but at least have it written down and everyone kind of knows this is possible. Let's try to make it happen. I don't know. I'm really into writing things down, because writing things down, I feel like it exponentially makes things possible, makes things more possible. How much more possible? I'm not sure, but I feel like it does. Okay, my next little section, I've got other starting expenses, and then I've got marketing action, kind of like action steps. Not necessarily in order of importance, but I feel like, which I've been talking about, I feel like there's 5 things that kind of need to happen, and almost knocking down to 4. So, number 1, have a word of mouth, shareable product or service. So that means, I'm just saying, like, if your cupcakes are so good that somebody has to go and tell somebody immediately that they're so good. If you're a mover and you've helped a family move, they immediately have to go tell people how great you are. Or if somebody mentions moving, they immediately throw out your name. And they share a website, or they share a YouTube video, or something that's, if you want to make sure your service or product is word of mouth worthy, because you got to start there. So if you don't have that, then back to the drawing board, I guess. And then number 2 is community collab, which I just think having 5 to 10 collabs, and collabs could be millions of varieties of possibilities. So if it's that you make a flyer with the business next door, if you do YouTube videos with a similar business, or there's a million ways to collab, but you're, maybe a similar business, a similar band, a similar genre of author, something somewhere where you're out there meeting people and creating content that's searchable and findable and valuable, something. So 5 to 10 of those. DIY publicity plan, which means if you have money for a publicist, that's amazing. But you also don't have to have money to get started. You can make your own press sheet. And I say have submitted to 100 outlets of any, doesn't matter if it's a podcast like this one that no one's listening to. Anything, anywhere, just say, I've got this story, I've got this thing, and I want to share it or I want to teach this on your show and so you can let people know about me. But you have to bring something to the table if you're going to get press. And the last thing is social media. So we think social media is free, which it is, but it does take time. So time is money. And I'm starting to think that this past 20 years or however long it's been since social media has existed, I think we've been dazzled and it's been fun, but we're on a different path now. I don't know what that means yet, but something feels very different. Just putting valuable content out there, that could still work, but I feel like that moment when blogs were huge and then they weren't. Like, I feel like we're in that moment of, like, social media was a great way to meet customers, but now it's not going to be. And it's just an instinct. So, however, what is huge are things like the Joe Rogan podcast, the different YouTubers that are providing entertainment and different things in Medium, where you can submit blogs and stories and different things, and you get paid per Medium users reading your story. I feel like monetizing your social media and making a show is the thing. And yeah, and then I just have a bunch of revenue streams, which is like a lot of just different ideas. So, I mean, the idea of the revenue stream list is like if you're checking off the boxes of like, yes, we're doing this, we're doing this, we're doing this, and kind of the whole team can see like, okay, we're making money in these 3 ways, but there are these 30 ways of possibilities to make money. Like maybe if it, and even if it's the subconscious things, like if everyone's kind of looking at the different ways to make money, you know, maybe more new ideas will pop up and come exist, you know. So anyway, that's my investor same page worksheet. If you want a copy, let me know some way, somehow. Anyways, the roses are doing great. So I got these, my fresh flower, my new thing, fresh flowers, little bouquets, tiny bouquets. Yeah, $7.50 to a dozen roses. Well, I'm including tax on. They're $7 the roses for a dozen, and they're huge. They're like 5 inches. And yeah, I've enjoyed them. They're still super bright and pink. And I don't think they're going to last for 32 weeks. I'm trying to figure out how to have fresh roses. $5 a week does turn into a bill in my mental math of cost. I would consider fresh flowers kind of frivolous, but there's something inside of me that is telling me to have fresh flowers. It's probably the state of the world right now, but it is bringing me happiness. I've been just like enjoying these like they're little pets or something. So I'm still trying to get to maybe $5 for 2 weeks. I'm figuring it out. I've got a system going, but I think we've hit 15 minutes, so I got to end the show. And I still don't know how to end the show, so I'm just going to play the music.